LUNCE'S list, LUNCE'S list, oh. LUNCE'S list of 5. LUNCE'S list of 5. LUNCE'S list of 5. LUNCE'S list of 5.
All right, John, the task is to name the 5 wrestler entrances other than Kane's, who we know you're a big fan of. We will continue to reemphasize that. You are a massive Kane fan. That's right. Other than Kane, and including all of wrestling history, I want you to name the 5 wrestler entrances that you personally enjoy the most. The 5 wrestler entrances you personally enjoy more than the rest. Brian is getting out the LUNCE'S List home game, which pretty soon we should start selling versions of. How did you approach this list?
I came up with 9 off the top of my head. So I feel like if I usually come up with it off the top of my head, it probably should be there. I forget some all the time, and I'm sure you'll be like, I can't believe you didn't do blah, blah, blah. And I'll probably be like, I forgot that one. But I took those 9, and then I broke them into 4 categories, and I graded them. This is probably the first time I've ever graded out to choose the 4. I based it on the theme, so the music that is there, which, would be a different list if it was just themes.
That's fair.
But is definitely included in the entrance. The initial audio hit of the camera's not on the entrance, but when you hear whatever it is, and it's, by God, that's Blank's music, it's recognizable. So that's a big part of it too. So it's almost as important as just the theme itself. What they do on the way out, so what the physical person does on the way out. So Kane, walking menacingly, and then when he gets to the ring and does the flames and stuff, that's part of what makes it number 1 for me, on top of the music being good. And the organ hitting and everything, that's his initial hit and all that. So there's everything really works with Kane. And then a little pyro in there. Some people don't really have pyro involved in it. Some people, like Kane, shoot the world's biggest flames for his pyro. So with all that being said, I kind of did a grading system, and these are the 5 highest grades of the 9 that I came up with, and the other 4 are honorable mentions.
While John goes to write on the board, Brian, what was your absolute favorite moment of WrestleMania this year?
What was his name again, Tyler? The YouTube guy?
I Show Speed.
I Show Speed.
He's committed to the
Tim. No.
No, that's fine.
He's
Leave
a
it
Twitch
there.
streamer.
That gives us enough time to get to number 5 on LUNCE'S list, so that's perfect. I want John to show number 5. Number
Chris
5
Jericho.
Ah, man.
Chris Jericho. Time to break the walls down.
I've already lost.
Now, I remember...
Good initial hit with that.
You remember his initial entrance in WWE? You remember how epic that was with the countdown clock and everything?
And going back to that, WCW, which was infamous for ripping off main staple songs at the time, he had a version of Even Flow by Pearl Jam, which is hilarious. And then there was this kind of synthesizer heavy one that was always on NFL Countdown. And it was like, ooh, that's a say. I've heard Chris Berman talk over that. And so even predating the infamous Break the Walls Down, he had some pretty fun ones as well. But this one, John, great start, man.
So good initial hit.
Yes.
I like the lights go off of the jacket, the sparkling light jacket. So I probably should just pull my grades up here.
Your grade? Can you show the grade?
That's too complicated to show the whole grade. But so I had this as I probably didn't have this number 1 in any category, but I had it pretty high in a lot of categories. I like overall the theme of it.
Yeah.
I like the Break the Wall Down. I like his jacket. And Y2J shirt, the Y2J shirt is the only shirt I've ever bought at a live event ever. I think I brought this up at some point before, but I've been to a bunch of live events, but it's the only time I actually pulled the trigger on buying merch was the first SmackDown. I guess it was the first SmackDown ever in Birmingham. My dad took me to, and I bought a Y2J shirt because I thought that playing off the whole Y2K thing at the time was obviously very,
it's cool.
Apropos. So I like that with Chris Jericho.
Okay. Chris Jericho, a strong start to the list there at number 5. And I even like a lot of his AEW run with his entrances as well, using Fozzy there.
Fozzy's a great.
It works
Judas, out. Yep, good one.
Let's go with
watched a lot of that.
Number 4 on LUNCE'S list of best wrestler entrances. What was, other than the 2 main events, what was the match that stood out for you the most at WrestleMania 40?
We haven't talked about another guy finishing a great story, but that was Sami Zayn and Gunther.
Oh.
I mean, you talk about Rocky underdog in Philadelphia. That was pretty fun.
That was Josh Sisk's favorite match.
Yeah.
And it delivered the brain buster on the turnbuckle. that was delivered to Gunther.
I always remember these guys are doing this to each other and then hugging and laughing backstage and saying that was awesome, but that was not awesome.
That was terrifying. All right, number 4, Triple H.
Current Triple H music. The water bottle spit is part of this, so what he does, physically does. Gotta get a poncho to sit in the front row when he does it off the side, but
it's like being at a Gallagher concert.
it is. I like this song, and I think this has continued to be a perfect song for him to use as corporate.
Yes.
Triple H, the power. I feel like it's one of the songs that probably brings the most power to it of like, I'm in control here. His gimmicks, he could do at WrestleMania with it. Very, very good. So Triple H, just it's a powerful entrance. Probably more so than anybody else to me, and he is the guy in charge. The other guy in charge was one of the 9 that I brought up, so it may or may not appear, but I don't know. I just the music, the hit, the minute it hit, the initial audio hit, you know exactly who it is, and it's a powerful hit. And then getting there and spitting water on everybody. You want more power? I'm just gonna spit water on you.
Amazing. And it was Motorhead too.
I don't guess he does that anymore, but
no. But
I mean, just imagine if he did in that suit and still spitting water on everybody.
I love his King of Kings theme. It's
Not
probably
bad.
my favorite. But he is known for so many different iconic entrances with DX, with Evolution.
It's hard to just put Triple H. That's why I had to be like, I like his current music very much.
But I also like that this promotes our first ever retro trailer reaction, The Game, 1997, starring Michael Douglas. Make sure you check out that video. There it is right there. Okay, let's go to number 3 on Lunce's list, 5 best entrances, and we will take your entrances that you really like in the live chat, as well as we have Brock saying Hulk Hogan with the Hulkamania entrance.
Can't beat it.
And The Undertaker. Yeah. You have Jody throwing out the fabulous Freebirds.
Ooh, Bad Street.
Number 3, Bray Wyatt.
The lights, everybody holding up their lights, the lantern in the darkness. The difference between this and Undertaker is Undertaker in general is just boom, straight up darkness. This is the minute it hits, we're going to bring the light instead. Like the people, the universe is going to bring the light. Bray Wyatt's going to bring the light. That I like this overall. It's probably one that popped in my mind because of current circumstances when I put it on my 9, but then I really went through and thought about it. I like the gimmick. You know, I liked his Fiend gimmick as well. You know, I like the I don't know if the Firefly Funhouse theme would count, any kind of that kind of stuff would count as any kind of entrance or not, but I kind of like that gimmick as well. I loved his match with Cena. I guess it was the COVID year when Cena kind of disappeared at that point to go be a movie star.
Fantastic.
And I had to throw Bray Wyatt and local guy, obviously, playing a Troy and everything.
Yeah, that
so
song,
I had to include Bray Wyatt.
I've always described just the mellowness, but the aggressiveness as it hauntingly beautiful. It is just clean, but scary as you know what. Too.
And from I honestly don't know if I ever saw this in person, because in latter years when he was biggest, we got a couple of times at the radio station we get tickets, but outside of that, I didn't really go a lot. But from the initial hit, you could tell because the TV would cut off and show those quick little clips, like black and white clips and stuff, that it's like, okay, this is Bray Wyatt's turn. I don't know how that went in person, because like at WrestleMania, when the lights turned off and it's Taker, you hear the bell, you know, the gong hit or whatever, and then the lights turn off, you know exactly what it is. I assume it played out well on the screen that they showed that or whatever. I'm not really sure how that played out in person, though.
I haven't watched the Peacock documentary yet on Bray Wyatt, but I've heard wonderful things. I do wish we had gotten some sort of bigger run at some point with Bray Wyatt. It always felt like he was underutilized, always felt like he was on the precipice of really breaking through and being that top guy. And there was that moment that happened in the ring where The Undertaker pulled him to the side and said, you know, basically,
you always wonder what happened.
You're up next. And it was a really emotional moment. It was a passing of the torch moment. And unfortunately, the flame on that torch got snuffed out way too early in Bray Wyatt and the loss, in which the wrestling fans have endured as well. And you saw a lot of that brought up during the Hall of Fame. And this is the saddest entry on Lunce's list maybe in the history of this segment. Let's go ahead and move on to number 2. That's just the truth.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. That's just the truth. You think about the potential. You think about what could have been.
I know.
With more time.
Yeah, and I hope more people understand. He was a local guy to us here in Alabama, and he was the son of Mike Rotunda, Hall of Famer now. So good stuff.
Not long before that, Luke Harper, passing away.
Yeah.
Very sad. Number 2, Stone Cold. This has to be what you were referring to with the old JR voice that you were doing leading into. Yeah. You hear a sound and then you hear, oh my God, that's.
Now,
I was like, well,
in my rankings, this was by far the number 1 initial audio pop, which there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah.
And my number 1 has a good one too, but this is by far number 1. And that's honestly kind of where you can stop because Stone Cold built himself up to be so big that you heard that and your entire mindset changed about whatever was happening in the ring, if he was coming into a match already or if it was just a match with him. The whole mood changed just when you hear the glass shatter. And I literally wrote, the glass shatter is the best by God hit that happens in all of wrestling, and that's why he's all the way up at number 2. Plus, I mean, it's good music anyway. Stone Cold himself, coming to the ring with authority, it's just good, but the glass shatter is what puts it over the top.
Yeah.
Everyone on Sunday watching night 2 of WrestleMania 40 was waiting for that glass to
the most
shatter.
anticipated thing.
Waiting for it.
Yeah, the entire night never came.
If you watch the first Pavlik 6-pack, you were told that glass would shatter.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen. I think we'll discuss it in the second edition of the Pavlik 6-pack.
To be fair, before you ever said that, I still expected it to happen.
Of course.
And
Yeah, we got 87% of that one prediction right. I'm thankful I was able to represent the Meltdown Townians. Meldonians. What did I just say?
You said Meltdown Townians,
Meltdown
which I'll be
Townians?
honest, I detest. I hate that name.
I like
Meltdown Townians.
Meldonian, so yeah, it's whatever.
One day there will be a biopic about the Meltdown Townians.
Can't wait. They'll get Bumper from Pitch Perfect to play me.
Tyler, the Stone Cold music, I'm sure you could reenact it right now if I was to force you to. I'm not going to do that due to labor laws, but would you say that the Stone Cold
Imagine
entrance...
Tyler reaching over and just shattering.
I could honestly, with your lovable boy gimmick around here, I could see you coming down the hallway to HBK's theme.
We're very tall up on this building right here. We're very high up. He shatters that glass. Morgan Wallen may run in here and throw a chair through the window. You never know what may happen.
Go ahead, man.
But my question is...
Leave the chair right there, Tyler, please.
Tyler's like, is there a question involved in here? How iconic is the Stone Cold entrance from what you can recount from your days of being a wrestling fan?
It's very iconic. Only slightly less iconic than the Undertaker entrance. I would have that at my number 1 and Stone Cold right behind him.
John's going to the board. Do you even need
John's
to stand
getting
up for
up.
this?
No, okay. Do I need to write it?
Write it.
You got to make it official in case somebody
Yes.
screenshots it.
Who knows? You may go American Badass on this. I don't know. Which, by the way, hated the American Badass intro with the motorcycle. He could never get the motorcycle to properly work, and it was never menacing to me. The Undertaker entrance is menacing. The American Badass entrance goes, this guy is like on a tricycle coming down to the ring to kick my ass. It's not as terrifying. When Hogan tried to start up the hog.
Motorcycles in wrestling don't go as well as you think, a.k.a. Road Wild WCW pay-per-views in the fall.
The worst, and I never would have seen it if you hadn't brought it up. When he came to NXT, it was a few months ago he came to NXT because somebody said, hey, I'm such a badass. And he's like, no, I'm the real American badass. But it's so small where NXT is that he brought the motorcycle down. He could just barely waddle the motorcycle
It's
around
not
the
menacing.
ring.
You could literally
presented that
you could run away in the amount of time it takes for him to get off the bike. I mean, you could really just exit the arena. You could be in a limo on the way home, and he'd be like, oh, man, I got to do all these things to make the bike work. It's
no, this is definitely Undertaker, not the American Badass persona. You got to go with the other brother of destruction. If Kane's my number 1, this is right there, obviously. A lot of similarities between the two that, as Tyler mentioned, Stone Cold's even number 2 Taker for him, too, so don't really have to explain a lot of why Undertaker is number 1. And I feel like for a lot of people, that would be number 1 regardless. I would have Kane up there because I like red over purple. I like the gimmick that he has with the flames a little better and everything. Not that the Undertaker hadn't used flames before, but no, definitely Undertaker at number 1. Yeah. Now, my honorable mentions, real quick. CM Punk, I think, has the 3rd best initial hit with the static of Colt's personality. I'm just a CM Punk guy. I'm sure there's a lot better to a lot of other people, but for me, he's behind Taker and Stone Cold from just the static of, oh my God, you know who it is. I had Vince on there, No Chance in Hell, and then his kind of powerful, kind of swagger walk down there and everything. It was a good entrance. Ultimate Warrior he had the best approach to the ring with just haul into the ring every single time. I would have been, the Undertaker's waddling his bike down there. I mean, that's the exact opposite of the Ultimate Warrior.
That's fair.
Who just hauls down to the ring as fast as possible, and I would have been like, all right, I'm done. I gotta go back in.
Which one takes longer, the Undertaker entrance or the American Badass entrance? Because I would argue for the amount of time it takes for him to get off the bike, even though he has a motorized vehicle down there, which, by the way, in that triple threat match for the United States Championship, them using the golf cart or whatever to bring down Kevin Owens and Randy Orton.
What kills me is Randy Orton is terrified the minute it takes off because he can tell he's like going too fast and he's like, slow down, slow down.
Rib on Owens to hit the gas
holding on to the bat, and it's like, yeah,
that
it's
was
like
beautiful.
This is
much more efficient, the golf cart instead of the Undertaker hog. The Rock, let's say he hadn't just appeared in the ring, Undertaker, and he had taken the hog down there, I mean, it would have taken 20 minutes for him.
We'd still be talking about Sunday night.
The Rock would have sitting there like, are you done yet?
Anyway.
Yeah.
The best part of that, by the way, is watching videos of the Undertaker hiding under the ring the entire time and then have to come out and then go right back in. And it's like, you have to think he's under the ring right now while they're celebrating and doing all this stuff with Cody winning.
John, you've brought up a good point about pro wrestling in that regard. Sometimes it's better to watch it on TV because live.
Yes.
Undertaker? Yes. Shh.
And then my ninth one, this is a Natural Predator shout out, is Bobby Roode. I loved his music. And when he would like descend down, there's like an NXT takeover they did one time that he had this really big like lift that he came down. It was really cool. I like that. But the Preds use that music when they win, so it's a little of Is Bobby Roode even still a thing?
I had him as my honorable mention number one. Bobby Roode, the glorious, the robe, everything, and then of course Taker and all that.
I want to get into your at-home edition of Lunce's List that you have, Brian. What makes your 5?
And I hope you at home are playing this. You don't have to have the Pavlik Family Cruise one like I do, but I hope you have something you write down and take a picture and talk about with the spouse and kids later like I do. And then they go, did you work today? So mine's all over the place, but John, I did not rank. Did you use an Excel document formulated? See, we know each other real well here. I just said I would want to be that person in that moment. Not anything else, just I would want to be that person. And Attitude Era number 5, The Brood. Coming up from the flames, that music. We actually would come out of our locker room for football games to the Brood theme. Great stuff. Great look. I wouldn't go as far as the Gangrel with the blood and all that, but, it was still fun. He's over here like, blood? Excuse me?
Gangrel's one of my wife's favorites.
Yeah.
She's playing with Chia Pets or whatever.
Yeah. With Chia Pets.
Webkins.
Oh, sorry.
So, no, you're
Wet
good.
napkins or whatever it is.
Wet napkin.
Webkin.
Dude wipes. How about that? How about sponsorship mania?
How's Tyler getting offended that I'm going after EG here? That's not fair.
Yeah, the sponsorship, that is a thing that Prime bottle in the middle and literally every match having its own sponsor, the gin and juice.
The hydration station.
Prime was
The
fun,
hydration
man.
station, which got destroyed every single match.
hilarious.
They had to put it all back.
Oh, my gosh. So the Brood is up there, Goldberg, especially when he makes the long walk and people are chanting your name. I have 2 syllables in my last name. Pavlik would be so cool hearing, and you just walk with the security like you're a big deal.
I refuse to bring up Gilbert every time you hear about the Sparklers. I can't get over how perfect that is.
You beat me. It's like, it's
the
no
Sparklers
Gilbert,
with Gilbert.
It's every time you're here, John and I race to see who can mention Gilbert first.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Number 3 is out there, but as a young boy who was trying to watch wrestling and say, man, this guy has a physique and he has the ladies and he just has the charisma.
The Godfather.
We're close on that one. Ravishing Rick Rude. The whole spiel about calling the crowd sweat hogs, the disrobing, the 18 abs he had, the hip swivel, the tights. That entrance without the pyro background, just in and of itself, the striptease music.
Ultimate bad guy.
It's so fun. And if you go back, you would watch Rick Rude and go, that guy was awesome. So, Ravishing Rick Rude. Number 2, for crowd participation alone, the New Age Outlaws. I think we talked about the pop, that first opening guitar riff, and then having the crowd recite the whole intro with you. That was some of the stuff in the Attitude Era. If you were live in the crowd, that's one of those instances where live is better because you get to participate that and sing along with the whole New Age Outlaw intro back in the late 90s with their South Park shirts and all that. That was fantastic. And then number 1, not necessarily because I would be this kind of guy in person or not, but old school ECW, The Sandman. Metallica Enter Sandman hits.
He'd make himself bleed before he made his
You
opponent
come through the crowd. You're probably putting down 6 beers before the match even happens. Everybody's singing. Everybody's going crazy for you. And then the match starts. So I think the Sandman entrance, especially in that Attitude Era of ECW, if you were in the crowd and I am that guy coming through, you are all over me. You're wanting to drink the beer with me and everything.
Can I throw out an honorable mention? This one always worked for me. The JBL limo entrance. I always was a fan.
Fun.
When you saw those horns pull in and he got out, and also a great bad guy there holding the title. But we love talking wrestling. We'll get more of that in the Pavlik 6-pack here on the Meltdown channel for sure. One thing that I loved during WrestleMania weekend was how many belts were dropped during the 2-day event. We're looking to tighten our belts with Way to Wellness.
There you go.
John, tell them about Leslie and her board-certified team.
Yeah, go to aplanforme.com. You can learn more about Way to Wellness, Leslie, and her whole board-certified team. They have me on the right plan. They have Tim on a plan. They got Jim Dunaway on a plan. My dad's on a plan. It's a whole family affair there at Way to Wellness. Let's see. No, it's next week. We go to weigh in. We just weighed in last week. Dropped some more poundage there. And look, we're doing good on the plan. And it's got things changing for me. My clothes are fitting better there. I actually, literally, as we were recording something earlier, I was playing with my ring. I can put my ring on all my fingers now because I can just tell there's small little differences there when it comes to what Way to Wellness has done for me. I wasn't trying to sound like I was bored. I'm just saying.
No, it has a nice ring to it.
Oh, here it is.
It's like a fidget toy for me, and so I was playing with it, and I was like, oh, I can fit this on all my fingers now. Anyway, go to aplanforme.com. Learn more about Way to Wellness.